How are you, Shruti?
I'm good. I'm so happy talking to you right now. Finally.
I know. It's been such a crazy time, so busy with, online teaching and all of the fun things that we do.
So, Joe, why don't you first tell us a little bit about where do you teach and what do you teach about your background?
I'm currently teaching in San Diego as an art teacher at two elementary schools, so online, which is what we're doing right now.
Exactly. So, Joe, now that everything is happening online, whether it's schoolwork or even when you're entertaining yourself, students are spending a lot of time online. How do you encourage them to spend time offline as well?
I see them for an hour a day. And then their teachers, their homeroom teachers see them for about 4 hours or 3 hours. Well, they typically see them for 4 hours and I see them for 1 hour. So they're getting at least 4 hours of direct online teaching here in San Diego. And then they still have to do a few hours of work independently at home. And I imagine a lot of their assignments are on the computer. So these kids are answering emails, writing emails, chatting, using online platforms to do lessons like this. So what we try to do on our online classroom, our digital classroom is, it's depending on how old they are, but mostly it's the same thing for all of them. It's we give them breaks. It's time to stretch. It's time to go get some water. It's time to walk. It's time to move around. Getting movement in the day. Every hour, like every hour, we try to encourage some sort of movement activity, whether it's stretch or jump up and down or go take your break. So trying to get the student to give them the option at least and encourage them to walk and move away from the screen or at least stand up. It's just as simple and basic as just standing up is so much better than just sitting. Being sedentary when you can move is the new smoking. So yeah, so I read this somewhere, you're twice as likely to die of heart disease than someone who is so if you have an hour of vigorous exercise, but you spent the rest of your day Netflixing and chilling, just like being very chill, but you work out for a full hour very vigorously versus someone who doesn't work out for a full hour vigorously, but they're moving around, they're walking around, they're just not laying in bed or just sitting there. The person who works out for an hour is twice as likely to die from heart disease than the person who is walking around, moving around. So that connection with this, it's really, really, really unhealthy for you to sit. Um, is really scary. It's really scary. And being around all of these children, we want to encourage them and ourselves to just stand up, stretch every hour, get in at least 5 minutes, even though I've, with whatever I've read, it's, we're encouraging even just a little bit of movement is better than no movement at all.
Mm.
Yeah, and then also not only do we get them moving around in front of the screen, but sometimes with art, especially because I'm an art teacher, some of my assignments will be focused on going to do something outside in their backyard. Like we're going to do a still life of nature, something that you find outside. Maybe it's a rock or a leaf or something. So I encourage them to go outside into their backyard, find something, at least they're outside getting air, or there is this other assignment, something about getting to know your community and getting to know your neighborhood. So walk around your neighborhood with an adult, or go and visit a park, go and with an adult, of course, and trying to just encourage these outdoor activities as well for when they're not in school, or even if it's during the school day for their art time. So that's another way to try to just get them off the screen because as you know, it can be so tiring and overwhelming when you're a little child, so.
Exactly, that makes sense. And have you seen a change in the behavior of these students as well when they are online versus when they're offline?
Oh, interesting. Okay, definitely. Well, I'm lucky in that the students I have taught over the years, they are overall really have been great students and behave pretty well. But online, at first, they were at home and they were just staring at each other and just being in this new platform. As I'm sure a lot of adults we have seen try being on camera staring at everyone's face like this all the time, it's just a whole has been a whole experience that a lot of adults and children have been getting used to. um so at first they were a lot more quiet, a little bit more reserved, or they were just like blah, 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 blah. It was just like lots of talking at the same time because they don't have any, especially the first graders or second graders, they don't have any etiquette, online classroom etiquette, meeting etiquette, and even some adults even are learning those skills too. We all are, right? So um but over time they learned how to respectfully come into a classroom, and they've picked up all of the technology, all of the tools, all of the where to push what buttons. They picked it up so quickly. So I was really impressed with that. But behavior, as far as behavior, I would say they've adapted completely. All the students that I've seen have adapted, and they it's sometimes a little bit more difficult to engage conversation, especially towards the end of the day. They might be tired from being in meetings or in classroom, like online class all day. So towards the end of the day, a lot of energy starts to deplete, and conversation, discussion, it's a little bit more like you have to really pull it out of them a little bit more. So I would say that would be the downside of it. But overall, I've been like, this has been amazing being able to teach them online, and I've been able to teach art, and the students have had art the whole year with me, and it's happening. So it's
Exactly.
been good.
So, do you see a long-term effect that the this whole being online would have on the students?
That is a really great question, and I'm sure that's something that every parent, educator has been thinking about over time. Um, I like to think positively in most cases. Positive in a positive note, I just think about how adaptable these students are going to be using online or digital platforms of any sort of software. I think at first it was this, adults were unsure, parents were unsure. So of course the students were unsure and uncomfortable with all of this on anything having to do with online learning. And now these students take over the online classroom. They will take over, they will share their screen, they will present, they will, like the fifth and sixth graders, even the fourth graders, even third graders, just starting to take over the online classroom and teach just like you would hope to see in your classroom. So for them to have this, this just comfort level with the digital platform that we have today, I can just imagine how comfortable they're going to be with whatever type of platforms we continue to have. And I think that overall, in business and in education, technology is going to it's already having an effect on lots of small and large businesses, in which we're seeing an optimization of, I'm sure, productivity and profit probably and sustainability, and I'm sure there's so this is not going away. I don't think, I think that we're going to have more. Your new job is going to require you to know how to interface and do business online. I think it's just, in whatever way that's going to happen, whether it's just for meetings or sales or, customer service, HR, and any department. And so for a 5-year old to be online all year, learning, and being exposed to this way of conducting learning and teaching and presenting. I think that if anything, it's been a major training experience for them for when they are out in the world getting jobs. I honestly think that this is a positive. It will have a positive impact in that way.
Do you feel that schools will probably introduce something about digital well-being as well, in terms of now going forward? We all have to make sure we're not online all the time because we will get used to it. So maybe there might be either a section or maybe a full subject. Is there a thing that you feel that might happen to teach the students as well?
Absolutely. I do think that at school now, after going through this, I would hope that we would instill some of these skills for, when you're doing your homework, when you're at home. No, now it's time to go ahead and do your stretching. And I think that the children have already been exposed to these really um, healthy skills while being at a computer all day. And if we could continue to encourage those behaviors moving forward, I think we'll have a workforce that will know how to have a traditional, job that has a lot of online, a lot of desk work, but do the standing desks.
So, are there any things that you do to make sure that you cut off from technology? Like each day you follow some routine, or you tell your students as well to follow some routine to cut off from technology after a certain point?
Definitely, I have an hour of art with them, and so we start a project, and if we're not done with that project, I do tell them, okay, our class time is done, and it's your break time. I just remind them, this is your time to get away from your computer, to go outside, to go stretch. I just remind them that this is their time. Please don't use this time to go online and chat on with your friends, and because you've already had a lot of screen time.
Exactly. I think that's actually perfect to be able to tell your students that yes, take your time, stretch it out, do something physically, something different, and do not be sitting again and again. I think that's very important. I think that's a great thing, what you're teaching the students. I love that. Thank you so much, Joe. This has been great.
Yes, this has been so much fun. I'm so happy we were able to meet up like this and
Actually.
have this time to learn from each other. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me here.